All right, this is the question. Do you ever enter the Christmas season imagining having a warm family Christmas moment? By the time Christmas actually comes around, you have less hair than you started with. You can't wait to yank down the Christmas tree and just move on. Sometimes the most wonderful time of the year can become the most stressful time of the year. But Alexandra Kuykendall wants us to change that. She's going to teach us how. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Tell me about Christmas in your home.
Well, I have 4 kids,
Yes.
so my baseline life is busy.
Yeah.
And added on top of all of the carpool, school, work that I do is all of the extras of Christmas.
Yep.
So that is decorating, cooking, shopping, wrapping, hosting people, just all of the things that are meant
crazy.
to be fun.
Yes.
But if we do too much of them, they move from fun mode to stress mode.
And it's fun for everybody else while we're in the kitchen trying to make everything look pretty, right?
And we can quickly go from enjoying it to resenting it.
Yes.
And then that makes us not very fun people.
Absolutely. I feel like you're reading my story. But this book comes from a place of reflection, loving my actual Christmas, an experiment in relishing the season, because you lost your stepdad, and that made you start to analyze how you were actually celebrating Christmas and that time through your life. Tell me about that.
Well, I knew I wanted to do Christmas different. I'd had enough years where I ended the season saying, that's it. I never want to do Christmas the same way again.
Yeah.
And then I had a particularly hard year last year in that my stepdad passed away in October. And so when Christmas came, the grief was still very raw. And I looked at my typical traditions, my typical work, and thought, do I want to do these things? What do I want to remember a year from now? 10 years from now about this Christmas? What do I want my kids to remember, my husband to remember, my mom in her grief to remember? And I started using that question of what's really going to be important in 10 years as my guiding force.
And that's, when you were talking about that in the book, yeah, I never think about that. What do I want to remember 10 years from now about this Christmas? I'm just thinking, like, are the kids happy? Is the husband happy? Am I kind of happy? And you kind of just move on. I think that's a great reflection point that all of us should contemplate. Yeah, what do I want to take away this Christmas?
And often we're surprised because we are into the memory making, especially as women. We take on the responsibility of making memories for everyone around us. But often, when we think about our own memories that we love from Christmas, they're very simple things, and they usually have to do with being with people in a safe place that feels celebratory. And so how can you create that environment for the people that you are doing Christmas with, whether it's people you live with or your larger community?
Yeah. You also say in the book that if it wasn't for the baby in the manger, you probably wouldn't want to celebrate Christmas. And again, focusing on what is Christmas actually about?
Right. And I did have a particularly hard year where I thought, other than the baby in the manger, I really don't want to do all of this craziness. So I looked at the themes of Advent, really, as I was approaching the Christmas season. What does this mean? How has the church been celebrating Christmas for centuries? There might be a clue for me in there.
Yeah.
And so I started to look into those themes a little bit.
And so you started this experiment where you were trying to be intentional about the season. And I love your husband did a really great job of keeping you on point, because remembering that you're going to actually love your actual Christmas, because there were some stressful moments that Christmas as well where you just wanted to really pull your hair out.
Right. I mean, we can simplify and we can be strategic in setting ourselves up for success so that there's a minimal amount of stress. But the truth is there's still going to be stress, right? So my husband did call me out on some things, and he laid down a new rule. There's no complaining about Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, there are real hard things for us to grieve in our lives, and Christmas does tend to bring those up. But we can't complain about the self-induced stress.
Yeah.
But I do think that we need to acknowledge that Christmas can accentuate hard parts of our life that are present all year long. Either we're able to avoid those pain points, or they just feel amplified during the Christmas season. So whether those are relationships, in your extended family, in your marriage, with your adult children, health issues, financial problems, they just feel harder if they're hard all year round at Christmas time.
Yeah. Well, we are going to take a quick break, but when we return, Alexandra is going to give us some practical tips on how we can love our actual Christmas. It's not too late. Stay with us.